Have you ever felt like anxiety has built a fortress inside your mind? Its walls growing higher every time you try to escape its grip. This is Emma speaking, and today I want to take you on a journey to break down those walls stone by stone until you can stand tall once again, free and unafraid. Because here's a powerful truth. You don't have to spend your life running from anxiety. You can learn to meet it head on, understand it, and transform your relationship with it forever. Are you ready to reclaim your life from anxiety's shadow? Then listen closely, because I'm going to show you how, step by step, using stories you'll see yourself in and tools you'll use for years to come. Let's talk about anxiety, the unwelcome companion that shows up at the worst times. It can steal your focus, rob your energy, and even convince you to stop living the life you want. Maybe you found yourself paralyzed by an assignment, heart pounding at the thought of facing others, or numbing yourself with endless scrolling just to escape the chatter in your mind. Sound familiar? You're not alone. Anxiety tries to convince us that if we just avoid, just distract, just push it away, things will get better. But the opposite is true. The more you run from it, the tighter its grip becomes. But I'm here to tell you, there's a better way. You can break free. Not by fighting anxiety, but by transforming how you relate to it, how you understand it, and how you act in its presence. This is not just about coping, it's about healing. Today, I'll guide you through a powerful 5-step process for resolving anxiety, illustrated through the stories of 3 people, Bob, Jane, and Fred. Each of them faces anxiety in their own way. Bob trembles before social interactions. Jane is haunted by a constant, unexplained nervousness, and Fred is gripped by fear before a big event. Their journeys are your blueprint. Through them, you're going to learn how to process anxiety, not just endure it, but to let it become your teacher. Step 1. The power of observation. Imagine you're standing before a wild storm. Your first instinct might be to run for cover. But what if instead you paused and watched? Not to judge, but simply to observe. This is where healing begins, with the brave act of noticing. When anxiety strikes, take a breath. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What thoughts are swirling in my mind? What sensations are alive in my body? Picture Jane, overwhelmed by a vague sense of unease. She stops, closes her eyes, and notices the fluttering in her chest, the tightness in her stomach. She names what she feels, not just anxiety, but jittery, tense, restless. The power is in the naming. The more precisely you can name what you feel, the more power you gain over it. It's like shedding light into the darkness. Shadows shrink, and fear loses its mystery. Now see yourself as the observer, not the emotion itself. You are not your anxiety. You are the one experiencing it. This is the art of separation. If a thought arises, I wish this feeling would vanish, say instead, I notice I'm having the thought that I wish this feeling would vanish. In doing so, you create space between you and the storm inside. You become the witness, not the storm. Bob, tormented by the idea that everyone will judge him at a party, learns to distinguish between feeling and thought. I feel nervous, that's emotion. I feel like everyone will hate me, that's a thought. When you untangle these, you take control away from anxiety and put it back in your hands. This is not about judging what you feel. Don't label anxiety as bad or wrong. Instead, describe it. Uncomfortable, intense, perhaps even overwhelming. But it is just a feeling, one that you can learn to be with. Remember the wisdom. Emotions that are buried never die. If you try to stuff anxiety down, it only grows heavier, like stones in a backpack you carry everywhere. Instead, observe the stones. Name them, and you may find their weight begins to lessen. Step 2, willingness. The courage to feel. Most of us have been taught to run from discomfort, to numb, to escape. But what if you tried something radical? What if you leaned in? Willingness is the secret doorway through the fortress of anxiety. When the wind howls and the rain lashes, instead of slamming the windows shut, you open the door, invite the storm in, and say, "Show me what you've got." Willingness is not resignation. It's courage. It's the choice to feel, to allow discomfort, knowing that you can survive it. Slow down. Breathe. Feel your feet on the ground, the support of your chair. Notice the sensations, the tightness, the trembling, the heat or cold. Do not rush to make them disappear. Allow them to be. Sometimes, willingness can be practiced by exaggerating what you feel. If your hands are shaking, let them tremble even more. If your breath is shallow, notice it. This isn't about forcing calm. It's about allowing reality. Jane, who once drowned her anxiety in Netflix and snacks, learns to do something different. She turns everything off, closes her eyes, and whispers to herself, "What am I feeling? Where is it in my body?" Fred, who runs himself ragged preparing for his presentation, decides to stop, take a walk, and write down every anxious thought swirling in his mind. In these moments, they are choosing willingness over avoidance. They are saying, "I am strong enough to feel this." Bob, usually the first to flee a crowded room, sets a new rule for himself. It's okay to feel anxious and still show up. He silently declares, "Bring it on, anxiety. I can handle this." By changing his stance, he transforms anxiety from a dictator to a background noise, unpleasant but no longer in control. Step 3, explore. The art of clarity. Anxiety is a smoke alarm sounding in your mind. Sometimes it's just warning you about burnt toast, not a house fire. But unless you investigate, you'll never know. Explore the signals. Examine the warnings. What is your anxiety trying to tell you? Are you in real danger, or is your alarm system just a bit too sensitive? Write down your worries. Pick each one up, look at it from every angle. Are you catastrophizing, imagining the worst? Are you holding yourself to impossible standards? Name the unwritten rules driving you. I must never look foolish. I must be perfect. These rules keep you trapped. Question them. Are they really true? Bob fears everyone at the party will judge him. When he looks closer, he realizes most people are too busy worrying about themselves to notice his every move. Even if someone does judge, will it destroy him? Of course not. Jane lists every stressor in her life, from bills to her messy room to the endless demands of work and family. She sees on paper how much she tries to juggle and begins to understand why she's always on edge. Fred, terrified about his presentation, discovers that while he can't control his grade or his teacher's opinion, he can control how much he prepares. Step 4, clarify. Choose what matters. Now that you've observed, felt, and explored, it's time to clarify. Picture yourself standing at a crossroads, two paths ahead. One leads to pointless struggle, trying to control the uncontrollable. The other leads to focused action, doing what matters most, rooted in your values. Divide your worries into two piles. What can I control? What is beyond my reach? Fred can't control his teacher, but he can practice his speech. Jane can't erase every stressor, but she can choose where to invest her energy. Bob can't make his anxiety vanish, but he can decide to go to the party because friendship matters more than comfort. Ask yourself, what do I care about most? What do I want my life to stand for? Let your values guide your next steps. Maybe you decide to say no to extra responsibilities so you have time for self-care, or you choose to prioritize connection over safety. When you know what matters most, action becomes clear. Step 5. Act or accept. The final choice. You stand now at the threshold. You have met your anxiety, felt it, understood it, and clarified what matters. Now you must choose. Will you act or will you accept? Sometimes you can take a step, clean your room, set a boundary, call a friend. Other times, the only thing left is acceptance, allowing things to be as they are, without endless struggle. Bob, instead of hiding, picks up the phone and invites a friend to coffee. Jane, overwhelmed by mess and bills, spends an afternoon tidying up and asks her brother for help with budgeting. Fred, hands shaking before his speech, reminds himself, "This means I care. I will do it anyway. You don't have to wait for anxiety to disappear before you live your life." In fact, the secret is this: when you act in the presence of anxiety, when you show up, speak out, take care of what matters, you teach your brain that you are safe, that you are capable, that anxiety is not your master. And with each small act, anxiety's power fades. Each step you take is a message to yourself: I am not trapped. I am not broken. I am alive, and I am moving forward. The cycles of avoidance and fear may try to pull you back, but you now hold the tools to break free. You can observe. You can be willing. You can explore. You can clarify. And you can act or accept as needed. This is how you process anxiety, turning it from a tyrant into a teacher, a foe into a signal, a burden into a source of wisdom and strength. Remember the stories of Bob, Jane, and Fred, not as distant strangers, but as reflections of yourself at different moments. Each of them faced anxiety, and each chose, one step at a time, to move toward what mattered. So can you. Don't let anxiety write your story. Take back the pen. Let each day be a new page, written with courage, clarity, and compassion for yourself. You are more powerful than you know. The journey to freedom begins with a single brave breath, and the willingness to feel, to learn, and to act. If you want to go deeper, to build these skills and transform your relationship with all emotions, check the link in the description for resources and exercises. This is Emma cheering you on. Thank you for listening, and take good care of yourself. You are worth it. Your life is waiting for you. Step into it boldly.